In the unfolding of the Messianic story, and we described how Hashem is going to unify the Aguda Echas, this famous concept of the Aguda Echas, which means that we're all going to be unified. The Arugas Aboisim says a beautiful line. He says, "Sheyichdu kulam es levavam," that humanity's hearts will be bonded together lematara achas, for one purpose. Meaning everyone's going to have their hearts, but it's going to be like bound together with one mission. That's the Aguda Echas. To do what? Lasos ritzayncha b'leivav shalom. Just to do your will. Just to do your will with a pure heart. Now notice it's b'leivav shalom, that's two bases. Like the Gemara asks, when the Torah says, V'haftas Hashem Aleichem b'chol levavcha, how do you spell the word heart in Hebrew? How many letters? 2 or 3? Two, right? How do you spell it? Lamed Beis. That's white. So how do you? So if you spell heart Lamed Beis, why does the Torah say Lamed Beis Beis? Levavcha. So the Torah says that you have two hearts. Now, even simply put, there's two sides of the heart. What it's referring to is the two motivations of the heart. There's some times that my heart pulls me towards good things, things that would be appropriate to be passionate about, like your wife, like healthy relationships. And then sadly, there's other times when the other side of your heart pulls you to things that it's not too good to be passionate about. I don't need to fill in the examples now, but we kind of know what those things are. Those are the pulls of the Yetzer Hara. So when the Torah says, "V'haftas Hashem Aleichem b'chol levavcha," that you should serve Hashem with both your hearts, that even your Yetzer Hara, even the bad inclination also knows that serving Hashem, there's nothing better. And here the same thing, we see the language. Lasos ritzayncha b'leivav shalom. That none of the bad things that throughout the course of history that my heart pulled me towards, it will no longer be for those things. It will only be for you. It will be just directed to you, Hashem. Nothing will be pulled towards anything but you. And then it goes on. K'moishe yodanu Hashem Elokeinu. Like we know, Shahasholtan lifanecha. Hashem, you have the power. Sholtan means Hashem, you have the power. You can do this at any moment. You can redeem us, Hashem. You have that power. Because why? Oiz biyadecha. We're going to see two contrasting and complementary points. Oiz, the power. Oiz represents the power that Hashem has over nature. Hashem can manipulate nature. Oiz biyadecha. This refers to Hashem, so to speak, working from the left side. Hashem has no sides. Hashem is not physical. But Hashem runs the world in certain ways that we can relate to. And one of the main ways that we relate to is Hashem running the world through the right side, called loving compassion and kindness, and the left side, more power, justice. So, oiz biyadecha. Oiz, the power to run the world through this world, is biyadecha. Ugvura, which is the ability to give consequence to those that rebelled against you, Hashem. Biminecha. Now it's interesting, look at the language. Oiz biyadecha, ugvura biminecha, and gevur is in your right hand. Usually gevur is in the left. So oiz biyadecha, this is the power, oz, the way Hashem that you can manipulate the world using the physical world. And sadly, there can be natural disasters and there can be things that are going within the confines of the natural world. And we hope that everyone is safe. But Hashem, you have the power to move and manipulate the physical world. But then there's something called Gevura, Biminecha, in your right hand, you have the power that could even go above nature and manipulate anything to be able to give consequence to those that were rebellious against the king. In other words, Hashem, you could do anything. You can do this now. You could do this right now. We're in the unfolding of those that were rejecting, and how Hashem is able and will be able to unfold it in a way that everybody sees the truth. V'shimcha noira al kol ma shebarasa. I love this. And through this, your name. Shimcha noira, when we talk about Hashem's name, His awesome name, what we mean is the name is the way that Hashem is relating to the world. Your name, i.e. that you know that it's Hashem running the world, will then become on all of creation. I mean, what does it mean that God's name is not on creation? It means that Hashem runs the world like I run the world. Do you know who I am? Mr. CEO, I run the world. I own this town. It's funny that people talk like that. This is my town. I run this town. So that whole thing of like, I run this, is a lack of shimcha, is the lack of Hashem's name on you. When we talk about Hashem's name on you, it means you realize that Hashem, the name is always the way that Hashem runs the world in many different ways. The name being on you is an acceptance that I know that Hashem is running the world. It's like one of the most powerful ways that we have Hashem's name on us. Anybody know what mitzvah that is? Tefillin. We say about Tefillin, Ki Shem Hashem Nikra Aleichem, that the name of the Lord is upon you. V'yoru kol amei haaretz mimeka, and all of the evil nations of the world will become trembling, that they're going to see, wow, this person knows that God runs the world. That's Tefillin. Okay, what does Tefillin talk about, by the way? How Hashem runs the world and taking us out of Mitzrayim, which shows involvement with us in our life. So that's a very, very powerful thing. So when you put in your tefillin, you should really think about God, unity consciousness, and how Hashem runs the world. He's involved in our life. That's what it says in the tefillin. To remember, the tefillin is very powerful. Don't miss a day, Rabbi Yisai. Oh, mazel tov, tefillin. Amazing. Tefillin. Tefillin is very powerful. Very powerful. It says that a Jew could tip the scales. It's a Chabad's into tefillin, hardcore. Is that tefillin is one of those mitzvahs that could literally tip the scales. If a person even puts it on just one time, it could tip the scales. Because it calls a person... The Gemara uses a bit of a scary language. We're in like the scary part here, so I'll tell you it. Just, it's like a gezer shava, scary, scary. So the Gemara says a language of a person up in heaven. Let's take a half step back. The Mishnah Berurah, in the beginning of his introduction to the third chelik in Mishnah Berurah, where he discusses all the halachas of Shabbos, talks about a concept from the Zohar that a person has to be aware that every single mitzvah you do corresponds to body parts. That's why there were certain tzaddikim, when they would have health things, they would make sure to find out which organ is being affected, because they would make the corresponding connection to which mitzvah that organ corresponds to, and make sure to fix whatever rifyun, whatever challenge they had in that mitzvah. And we know a lot of these corresponding connections. Rabbi Nachman talks about it a lot. Sefer Charedim talks about it. Not getting angry is very connected to your liver. Big time. So if a person, God forbid, has liver things, you have to really see what's going on with your anger. And many, many other things. eyes correspond to stuff, right eye, left eye, hands, your kidneys, it's all discussed. And the 613 mitzvahs correspond to 613 different parts of the body. Now, that being said, when you get up to Shemaim, you also have, so to speak, these limbs, but they're different. The limbs are as generated as you were in the performance of those mitzvahs down here. And the generation of those limbs, which you do down here, will be seen up in heaven, and then you'll be resurrected according to the amount of generation that you made in those limbs. So the Mishnah Berurah is introducing the concept of, God forbid, a person coming with certain partial limbs. God forbid. Then the Mishnah Berurah goes on to explain that there's certain mitzvahs which are called mitzvahs klaliyas, which actually correspond to all the mitzvahs. Like you might have seen, Shabbos is equal to all the mitzvahs. That's why it says if a person breaks Shabbos, it's like he broke all the mitzvahs. By the way, tzitzis also corresponds to all the mitzvahs. And we find many hints to this. There's certain mitzvahs which correspond to all the mitzvahs. Then he describes that there's certain mitzvahs that correspond to certain organs that are critical organs. A person could live without a toe. It's not great, it's not nice, and there's a reason why you have toes. Hashem knows what He's doing when He put different limbs in different parts. Those all correspond to things, but a person cannot live without a heart. You need a heart. You need a head. And certain mitzvahs which correspond to the whole body, you can't live without anything. So you need mitzvahs. So back to our discussion. The Gemara says, if a person comes to heaven but he never put on tefillin, it's like he doesn't have a head. It's like the head needs tefillin. He calls it a karkafta deloy mana tefillin. It's like a skull without a tefillin is like, the Gemara is like, what is that? It's like missing. So mitzvahs are real. Mitzvahs are powerful. Mitzvahs are life. Ki hem chayenu. Mitzvahs aren't just like a nice thing. Oh, it's so nice. Shabbos is so lovely. Romantic candlelit dinner with your wife every Friday night. Hang out with your kids. It's so lovely. No, who doesn't love sitting in a sukkah? It's so wonderful. As long as it's not more than 20 amas. Baruch Hashem. Except according to Rabbi Yehuda.
Not more than 20.
Only when it's...
According to Rabbi Yehuda.
Only when it's 4x4.
Whoa, what about like, I don't know how big Amos is, but he's wearing huge sukkahs around here.
20 amas? Don't play games.
Oh, height.
Height.
Oh.
In the length and the width, Kol Ezrach b'Yisrael Yeshiva sukkah achas. You could make, there's no limit to how large a sukkah could be. And therefore, we do see from the prophets and the Gemara a concept that when Mashiach comes, there's going to be a sukkah that's going to extend from here to Jericho. We're all going to be in this mega party sukkah.
Was he eating the...
Leviathan and the Shorabor. I am very excited for the upcoming mega sukkah party. We try to do a miniature version in our sukkah, on sukkahs. Baruch Hashem. Everyone's invited. And Bizrat Hashem. Just like as a taste of what's coming. So it's not just that sukkahs it's so lovely, it's so pleasant. It's life. The Daled Minim is life. These correspond to things. We need these mitzvahs in order to have existence for all eternity. Okay? So Shimcha Noira, Tefillin is a mitzvah specifically that taps you into the power of God's presence in your life. So that's why it's filled with names of God. The Tefillin is all about names of God. And the way that God runs the world, which is also a mitzvah knowing that, which is part of the mitzvah of Yichud Hashem, that God runs the world. God, there's one, it's all one. There's 6 constant mitzvahs. And that's the power that we're discussing here. Let's begin the next Uvechein. And the next Uvechein is opening up, again, we said Uvechein Gematria 72, which is Gematria Chesed, which is Shem Ab. We're opening up more and more of the gates of the unfolding of the great story. Uvechein, and therefore, and then. After all of this is now opening up, and we're desiring to see the whole unfolding of the destiny of Hashem revealing Himself, what will be the natural progression? Tein kavod Hashem la'amecha. Anybody who identified with Hashem's glory in this world, of standing up for Hashem, giving Hashem good PR, even though the whole world was going against Hashem, anybody who stood up for the king will be glorified at that time. They will be honored, they will be seen as great. The king, even though he was on the run, when he comes back to his throne, anybody who was loyal to him, when he was in the trenches, he'll be given royal garments, he'll be given positions in the kingdom, he'll be glorified. So that's the time when everything is unfolding. Anybody who's called Amecha, your people Hashem, they will be given covered honor. And the whole world will come to honor those that gave honor to Hashem. That's why I always try to make this more and more real for you. Like, who are the people now that sadly have not embraced Hashem yet, but everybody gives honor to? So usually it's like, Hollywood people, athletes, and
CEOs.
Yeah, oftentimes people in these positions.
Influencers.
Yeah, influencers. And, without naming any particular names, these influencers, what is their deeper message? What are they really trying to bring a person to? To Hashem? Are they really trying to bring you? What are they trying to get you to? What are they about?
By the products they sell.
So oftentimes the products. Pardon?
Debauchery.
Yeah, a lot of it is debauchery. Like a lot of this, you can't even look at their pages. Like you're not allowed. Like I'm saying, al-pi-din. Like it's inappropriate. It's a lot of arayas, but it sells because it catches your attention. So as soon as the unfolding starts happening, so these people are going to run to those that then become the rightful inheritors. Not inheritors because they're part of some, family that they didn't earn. Inheritors because they chose it. They're going to run to the rightful inheritors of the kingdom of Hashem, and they're going to beg you, they're going to tell me, teach me some Torah. Teach me something. Teach me some Chumash. Tell me about Tefillin. I always think about LeBron James just running over to you and saying, just tell me a Mishnah. Teach me a Rashi. Talk to me about Tefillin.
Should we?
Pardon?
Should we?
Yeah, he's going to want to know, for sure. There's certain things that all of humanity needs to know. And Hashem is for humanity. Hashem is one. We just have a job to share Hashem with the world. Hashem is one. So he's going to want to know, tell me. So at that time, you're not going to think like, aren't like you the honor? Like, shouldn't I be running to you? Like, why are you running to me? So he's going to say, you don't understand. Like, all the glory is with those that bonded with Hashem. You guys are the ones. It's going to be an amazing time. You have to already imagine that unfolding in your mind. So that's the next phase. Tein kavod Hashem li'amecha and tehila li'riecha. Those that are amecha, that are part of the nation that has been choosing Hashem, they're going to be glorified and given honor. Those that on a higher level though had yira, were like really into you Hashem, like didn't move in this world without, is this what Hashem wants? Not in a weird way, but like in a solid, like I live with the king. They will not only be given honor, they will be given what's called tehila. People will want to sing their praises. Tehila is something very beautiful. Tehila means beauty. They're going to be very beautiful. Very beautiful. That's why I think like Itchy Meyer, just so, like people that are really the Yireyecha, they're going to be so beautiful. You already see it now. But those that really were bonded with Hashem, who lived with an awe of Hashem, are going to be so beautiful. Going to be like, the whole world is going to realize, like, this is real beauty. Not, these Sports Illustrated magazines, which nowadays, I'm sorry to say, is like more just pornography than anything else. They're going to see mamish, beauty, real beauty, nothing counterfeit. This is what's coming. This is the unfolding that's coming. We're going to go deeper into the last few brachas, continuing in Shemon Esrei. Everyone has a wonderful Shabbos, a wonderful mamish week, growing, learning, being davuk to Hashem, davuk to the Torah, being those that we can call Hashem your Am, and being the ones that we could say are really the Yirei Hashem. And may Hashem give us kavod, b'siyata d'shmaya, true kavod, not narish kavod, the kavod of being connected to you, Hashem, and tehillah, that we should have beauty, we should shine your beauty, Hashem. We should just be a mirror of all the beauty of the supernal Tiferes. And Bezrat Hashem have Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'mhira v'yameinu. Amen. Amen. Kol Tov, my friends. A wonderful day. A wonderful Shabbos.